You know that feeling, right? That gut instinct, that little voice that tells you exactly what's going on with someone before they even say a word. It feels like a superpower, doesn't it? But what if that incredible strength, that quick intuition of yours, is secretly the reason for most of the arguments in your life? Well, let's get into it.
So that's the big question we're tackling. Is this thing a gift, or is it actually a curse in disguise? We're going to dig into how your greatest asset might just be your biggest liability, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So think about it for a second. Is your gut feeling a trusted friend, or could it be stirring up trouble?
All right, first stop, let's unpack this paradox. We're going to look at the secret downside of being one of those people who's super perceptive, a trait that, let's be honest, most of us are pretty proud of.
You know, in Korean, there's a perfect phrase for this, gami baruda. It means your gum, your intuitive sense, is just lightning fast. You don't need things spelled out for you, you just get it. You catch the vibe, you read between the lines, you sense what's really going on under the surface. It's this powerful, almost sixth sense.
Okay, but here's the twist. This is where the paradox really kicks in. The research behind this whole idea shows something pretty surprising. The very people with this quick GAM, well, they tend to get into more fights. Your amazing ability to see the truth so fast is somehow leading to more friction, not less. I mean, how does that even make sense?
To understand why this happens, we have to break down what your intuition is actually telling you. And that brings us to this really crucial idea, the 70% insight. This gets right to the core of the whole problem.
Remember this number, 70%. This is the key. Because that gut feeling of yours, no matter how strong or how right it feels, it's not giving you the whole story. It's giving you a big chunk, for sure, but a big chunk isn't everything.
So the idea is that our intuition really kicks into high gear when the energy of a situation hits about a 70% threshold. That's the point where it's strong enough for your gamma to lock onto it. So, what you're sensing, it's totally real. It's a huge piece of the truth, but it is fundamentally incomplete.
And this visual really lays it all out, doesn't it? You're operating on this massive, convincing 70% chunk of information. But look, there's this critical 30% that is completely invisible to your intuition. And that hidden 30%, that's where all the context lives. It's where the nuance is, and a lot of the time, it's where the other person's real story is hiding.
So here's the bottom line. You can't sense your way to 100%. You can't just try to intuit harder. The only way to get that missing 30% is to shut down the intuition for a second and just listen. You have to let the other person fill in the gaps that your game will never, ever be able to reach on its own.
Now, when you act on that incomplete 70%, it leads to a really common and, honestly, disastrous mistake. The source material for this explainer calls it something pretty brilliant, the fortune teller's folly. Man, this quote just nails it. Think about it. A fortune teller's job is just to say what they see, right? It's a performance. I sense you're angry, or you're thinking about leaving, aren't you? But a real problem solver, they don't just blurt out what they know. They use that information carefully to actually help.
And this is the consequence. When you immediately say your 70% insight out loud, like, I know what you're really thinking, it doesn't feel helpful to the other person. It feels like an attack. It's like you're literally hitting them with your perception. And what happens when someone feels attacked? They get defensive. They put their walls up. They fight back. And that right there, that's how the war starts.
Okay, so if jumping the gun is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's not about getting rid of your amazing intuition. No way. It's about learning to control it. And that brings us to the next part, the art of waiting. Here we go. Another fantastic Korean concept, algoro molara. It's a discipline. It basically means you have the insight, you know what's up, but you make a conscious choice to act like you don't. You just hold it back. And to be clear, this isn't about being fake or dishonest. It's about being smart. It's about being patient and creating the space for the full truth to come out.
So, how do you actually do this? Well, it's simple, but trust me, it is not easy. The second your GAM fires off, your number one job is to just close your mouth. That's it. Your new goal is to create a vacuum for that missing 30% to rush into. You let the other person talk and talk and talk until they're completely done. And only when they have nothing left to say and they turn to you and ask, what do you think, only then do you offer your insight. And when you do it that way, it's not an attack anymore. It's a gift.
Okay, this all leads up to a kind of master technique that ties everything we've talked about together. It's a simple framework for turning that raw intuition of yours into real, actual wisdom. It's called Wisdom's 3-step rule.
But before we get to the rule, we have to get this distinction straight. Your intuition, your gut, that's a natural ability. It's just something you have. It tells you what is happening. But wisdom, that's a trained skill. That's knowing how, and more importantly, when, to use that intuition. And as you can see, one starts fights and the other one has the power to end them.
And here it is, the rule itself. When your gut screams at you, you mentally take 3 steps back. Step 1 is just about dodging that initial reactive fight. Just get out of the line of fire. Step 2 gives you a bit more distance, lets you see the bigger picture a little more clearly. But that third step, oh, that's where the magic happens.
Because taking that third step back, it gives you enough space and time to watch the entire movie unfold. You can see your 70% gut feeling, and you can hear their crucial 30% story. You can process it all. From way back there, you can finally see the complete picture. And when you decide to speak or act, you can do it with total confidence and without making a mistake.
So at the end of the day, this isn't about weakening your superpower. It's about upgrading it. It's about going from being an impulsive fortune teller who reacts to everything to becoming a wise, patient problem solver who can navigate life with so much more grace and a lot less conflict.
And that brings us to the final question for you. The next time you feel that flash of insight, that powerful gut feeling that tells you exactly what's going on, what are you going to do? Are you going to react, hit them with your knowledge and start a war? Or are you going to close your mouth, take 3 steps back, and wait for wisdom? The choice, as they say, is yours.